Hey guys, how y'all doing? Good morning, or good evening, whatever it's good evening. I guess it's good evening. Yeah, after the dream I was telling y'all about, I found a movie. I'm not quite finished watching it yet. And it's called matter of fact, I'm gonna write it down for you. I'm gonna start off with that first. I found this movie, right? So let's see. I had found not the COVID, but the 21 was something like a government place. Um, so y'all bear with me. Let's see. And we'll start on the other topics. All this has to do with each other, I guess. Okay, let's see. What does COVID 21 mean?
According to MDN Web Docs, Mozilla, the HTTP 201 created success status response code indicates that the request has succeeded and has led to the creation of a resource.
So the 21 created HTTP was a success. Success status response code indicates the request has succeeded and has led to creation of a resource. The new resource is effectively created before this response is sent back, and the new resource is returned in the body of the message. It is located in either the URL of the request or the content of the location header. The common use case of this status code is as a result of the post requested. So 21 created the hypertext transfer protocol. That's what the HTTP. Okay. Okay, let's see what that means. 632.6.3.2.21 created. Status code indicates that the request has been fully fulfilled and has resulted in one or more new resources being created. The primary resource created by the request is identified by either a location header fed in the response or no location header is received by the effective request, URI. Look at this stuff. The 201 response payload typically describes and links the resources created. See section 7.2 for discussion of the meaning and the purpose of validator header fields such as tags and last modified in 201 response. 633.202 accepted. Status code indicates that the request has been accepted for processing, but the processing has not been completed. Requests might or might not eventually be acted upon, as it might be disallowed when processing actual takes place. There is no facility in HTTP for resending a status code from an, I don't know the word, operation. 202 response. is intentionally non-committal. Its purpose is to allow a server to accept a request from some other process, perhaps a batch or oriented process that is only run once per day, without requiring that the user agent's connection to the server persists until the process is completed. The risk representation set with this response ought to describe the request current status and point to embedded a status monitor that can provide the user with an estimate of when the request will be fulfilled. So this is a bunch of codes, HTTP. I don't know how I got here, but okay. Switching protocols, created 201, accepted 202, non-authorized information 203, 204, no content, 205, reset content. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so okay, we'll go ahead and start with, I'm gonna say a little bit about the movie. Um, there was shots around, it was talked about COVID 21, and then people were taking the shots and turning into the zombie thing, quote unquote, that everybody's talking about. So they used a child as bait to stop these people, these army scientists or whatever they were, and a child attacked them, and of course everybody else came out. So we go with the word. Was it Miss M? Let's see. Let's see. Let me go on with order I got. Okay, we'll go ahead and start with the order I got. It says we studied gender and STEM for 25 years. So we'll go on the MISOGYNISTIC code, and it's the hatred for women. And that I just put that abbreviation, MV something, whatever it is. What did I just put? Okay. Okay, so what it means, hatred for women, okay? So I'm gonna read what I have about that. We've studied gender and STEM for 25 years. The science doesn't support the Google memo. These are some issues that males simply do not have to face. The anxiety gap exists for a reason, and it is not about biology. So they got Google engineer who was fired from posting any online claim that women's biology makes them less able than men to work in technology jobs, has charged that he is being smeared and is a victim of political correctness. James Damore, 28, questioned the company's diversity policies and claimed that scientific data backed up his assertions. Google CEO Sundar wrote the DMARS 3,300 word manifesto crossed the line by advancing harmful gender stereotypes in the workplace. They noted that to suggest a group of our colleagues have traits that make them less biologically suited to that work is offensive and not okay. The more argued that many men in the company agreed with his sentiments, That's not surprising since the idea that women just can't hack it in math and science has been around for a very long time. It has been argued that women's lack of math gene, their brain structures, and their inherent philological traits put most of them out of the game. Some critics side with DeMorn, for example, columnist Ross of the New York Times found his scientific arguments intriguing. What are they? What are the real facts? We have been researching issues of gender and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math for more than 25 years. We can say flatly that there is no evidence that women's biology makes them incapable of performing at the highest level in any STEM fields. We have been researching issues of gender and STEM. Okay, wait, wait, wait. Many reputable scientists, authorities who weighed in on this question, including a major paper in the journal Scientist debunking the idea that brains of males and females are so different that they should be educated in single-sex classrooms. The paper was written by 8 prominent neuroscientists headed by Professor Diana of Carmont College, past president of American Society. They argue that there is no well designed research showing that single sex education improves students' academic performance, but there is an evidence that sex segregation increases gender stereotype and legitimacies institutional sexism. They added, neuroscientists have found few sex differences in children's brain beyond the larger volume of boys' brains and the earlier completion of girls' brain growth, neither of which is known to relate to learning. Several major books have debunked the idea of important brain differences between the sexes. Lisa Elliott, associate professor in Department of Neuroscience in Chicago, did an exclusive review of the scientific literature on human brains from birth to adolescence. She concluded in her book, Pink Brain, Blue Brain. Interesting. Okay, it's supposed to be the male, female, but I thought the male was pink and the woman was blue. That there is surprisingly little solid evidence of sex differences in children's brain. Rebecca Jordan Young, a social medical scientist, also rejects the notion that there are pink and blue brains and that the differing organization of female and male brains is the key to a behavior to behavior. In her book Brainstorm: The Flaws in the Science of Sex Differences, she says that this narrative misunderstands the complexities of biology and the dynamic nature of brain development. And happily, the widely held belief that boys are naturally better than girls at math and science is unraveling amongst serious scientists. Evidence is mounting that girls are every bit as competent as boys in these areas. Psychology professor Janet Haidt has strong U.S. data showing no meaningful differences in math performance among more than 7 million boys and girls in grades 2 through 12. Also, several large-scale international testing programs find girls closing the gender gap in math, and in some cases, outscoring the boys. Clearly, this huge improvement over a fairly short time period argues against biological explanations. Much of the data that Demore provides is a memo is subject, outdated, or has other problems. Okay, okay. So that's that one. Then we go to Reddit's Reddit, apostrophe S, the red pill, notorious for its Argue, MIS, oh my God, this word. A second term New Hampshire state representative helped turn the red pill into this code. Okay, and that word is, it means is defined as this planned hatred, aggression, and prejudice against women. Behavior is often linked to sexual objectification and harassment. Behavior is connected to sexual harassment and frustration. Credit, giddy images. Okay. On the alert right, oh no, it's something else. Yeah, so that's what it means. Hatred for women. Now we also got the other one, hatred for men. Okay. Another. Okay. And then we got MISANDRY is a hatred of contempt for or prejudice against men. It is counterpart of this word, hatred against women. Okay. The role of the hatred against men, feminism, is controversial and has been debated both within and outside of feminist movement. Opponents of feminism often argue that feminine is that there are a hatred against men, istic. The volatile of these perceptions and the concept has been criticized as promoting false between, okay, so they say it's not true. But these two words, one is hatred against women, one is hatred against men. We still there, y'all? And all the shit going on, we still there. Okay. Anyway. Then we go to written. The red pill, notorious for this word right here, was founded in a New Hampshire state legislator. Okay. Since its founding in 2012, the men's rights subwritten, the red pill, has become one of the most notorious forums in Redden's history, widely known as this word, cesspool, in which men replied feminist ideologies and mock rape victims. Appropriation of the matrix concept of taking the red pill. Members of the forum argued that men need to wake up to reality in which feminism has ruined their lives. So is that what the matrix is really about? Men versus women. Men to wake up. Members of the forum argue that men need to wake up to reality in which the feminism has ruined their lives. Okay, so to come against. So this is the matrix really about. Now it appears the foundational beliefs of the red pill could be directly impacting politics in at least one state. Now I want to say this. Now the lady who made the Matrix, I'm pretty sure that she didn't mean it as that. They're taking it their way and making it as it means that coming against the woman because they were so jealous that a woman could think of all this stuff. She made the Matrix, she made a Terminator, and one or two other ones. Being a female. Now it appears the foundational beliefs of the red pill could be directly impacted politics in at least one state. The Daily Beast has uncovered significant evidence that the red pill's founder, a redditor named P.K. The Atheist, is actually a state Republican lawmaker. According to the Daily Beast's findings, he is one of the many internet handles belonging to a 30-year-old Republican lawmaker named Robert Fisher. Fisher created the Aura Red Pill near the end of his Intuit campaign for the New Hampshire State House of Representatives, in which he ran as Democrat. In 2014, he campaigned as a Republican, won, and maintained his seat in 2016 with a total of 5,700 votes. Now greeting the accusation, which included a litany, L-I-T-A-N-Y, of hatred against women, comments posted to the forum over the years, with a mixture of denial and admission. Fisher is ignoring calls from his fellow state legislator to resign. Instead, he seems to be embracing his role as the de facto leader of the alt-right enclave and says he will stand strong for men's rights in the New Hampshire legislature. Writing under a number of aliases, Fisher made several massive statements about sexual consent and inferiority of women. Fisher has exposed typical alt-right the ideological views online, even though he only served as moderator of the Red Pill for around 2 months between late 2012 and early 2013. The forum especially advocates for so-called men's rights movement, which often bills itself as being restoring men's self-esteem after it's been damaged by the effects of feminism, protecting fathers' agency in custody battles, and generally restoring their traditional roles as head of the family. In practice, however, men's rights activists, colloquially known as MRAs, yeah, that's what it is, MRAs, often use their gender to harass women, deny the existence of rape culture, and teach one another how to manipulate women to sleeping with them. Okay, so manipulating women. Often through subtle forms of control. So they disrespect rape, say it don't mean nothing, right? Okay. Boy, if these whoever controlling y'all and y'all don't get it, and I know it's been a lot of messing with your mind, men, and I wish y'all would recognize that whatever this entity or whatever it is don't like none of us, and they want to keep the men and women apart from each other. Okay. Though at the time of his departure as a moderator of the Red Pill, Fisher said he would not be participating further in the community. He remained semi-active in the forum until his outing by the Daily Beast. Under various aliases used across the internet, Fisher expressed his belief that women are unintelligent and argued that it is necessary to teach women consequences for leaving their marriages, a statement that reflects his most recent campaign promotes to strengthen the family. I treat women like they're subordinate creatures, and suddenly they respect me, Fisher wrote in 2013. The Daily Beast also points out that Fisher frequently posted in the Red Pill about his fear of being falsely accused of rape. This fear ran parallel to his massive views of the rape and sexual consent. He once argued that rape jokes made by the high schoolers who witnessed the assault of the raping Steubenville rape victim were not newsworthy, and also suggests that it is evolutionary advantages for a 40-year-old man to hit a 15-year-old girl because there's a law doesn't mean that the 15-year-old girls were always considered out of bounds, he wrote. So he don't care about your child. Fisher initially denied his connection to the men's right forum, then unrepentantly leaned into it. The Daily Beast reported spawned outrage from New Hampshire lawmakers. Government, whatever his name, Chris, stated Wednesday that Representative Fisher comments are horrendous and repulsive, and his resignation is certainly in order. When initially contacted by the Daily Beast, Fisher denied everything and then deleted all of his social media accounts. However, aimed considerable backlash from his fellow state lawmakers. Fisher admitted to the local news station WMUR on April 24th that he had said some injurious things about the opposite sex following a bad breakup. He also claimed that most of the Daily Beast statements were misstatements or out of content allegations. Of course, rape is a horrible crime, he said in an email to WMUR. He provided no further elaboration to the statement regarding the majority of his hating women statement made unwritten over the past 5 years. Instead, he said in his emailed statement to WMUR that he would continue to pursue his political agenda. Here's my message to the public. I am not disappearing. I will continue to stand strong for men's rights and the rights of all. And I intend to introducing new legislation in 2018 to push back in New Hampshire courts and finally bring relief for New Hampshire parents and citizens who face these very real but underreported issues. WMUR notes that Fisher has missed a significant number of legislature votes during his current term and previously asked to be removed from consideration for serving on any House committees, a condition that has further caused some lawmakers to question his suitability for the office. Okay, so that's on that. I'm not going to keep reading on him. Okay, let's see. Now we go to the penis. Men's Health, AMHL, advisory, plus 18 news, not safe for work content. Attention medical breakthrough only for men with small penises. Ugh. Published on 7/18/21. Secret growth discovery will increase your penis size plus 3.81 centimeters. Dear reader, finally, we can share this with you. For the past 2 months, we've been sitting on the secret and we've been dying to tell you about it. If you've been a reader for a long time, you know we often share exposes on natural cures and treatments shown by science to work that are, for one reason or another, hushed up by the mainstream. And today we're going to share with you stories of how dietary supplements has helped over 29,000 men to grow to 5.8, 7.62 centimeters and improve their sexual stamina and confidence. Their wives and girlfriends are calling this discovery the secret porn star maker because of the sexual beasts their partners have become. Because of these claims, we decided to conduct our own investigation and prove this 33 UCT safety and efficiency. Frank and Mary, 47 years old, 52 years old, from Portland. We have been a couple for 3 years and live in Portland. Our sex life came to a standstill a little more than a year ago, and we were aware that our relationship wouldn't last long if we continued like this. So we looked for solutions. My penis was 10 centimeters long, and I ejaculated within 3 minutes. I consulted a sexologist, went to the gym, took out the counter pills, tried a pump. I saw somewhere nothing helped. Finally, a friend recommended I try these pills he had been taking for a while. I reached up the web and found amazing testimonials showing with the impressive before and after photos. Men said they saved their relationship using Viagra now. I always had a hard time believing in the kind of publicity, but this time we decided to try it, and I didn't have much to lose. It arrived 2 days later in the discreet package, but my girlfriend didn't notice. I followed the simple instructions: 2 pills in the morning every day, and after 2 weeks, I was surprised at my colossal new size and energy. My girlfriend also took notice when I effed her. It turns out she wasn't tired of sex. She just wanted a huge hard rock cock worship and get off with. Now she can't get enough. So that's the red pill of that. Okay. Okay, man. Okay. Whatever works for y'all. Look who supported. Dr. Oz. Okay. So that's on the pill thing. Okay. So we still got to do it. We still going now. Okay. Now we read the inverse. Webby Watson, Culture, Red Pill Men and Women, Written and the Cult of Gender. We take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Rabbit hole would be one way to describe the thriving subculture perpetuating gender estim- estimulist alpha beta nonsense and anti-feminism that has spawned the current generation of men's rights activists, MRAs, and picked up artists, PUAs, the popular subreddit called R the Red Pill and the Red Pill, or the Red Pill, also commonly referred to as TPR, TRP, my fault, takes its name from the Matrix and has a spawning following on Reddit and beyond. What exactly is a red pill? Here's your explanation on the internet famous ideology that's even scarier than having an entire essential crisis in Lawrence Fishburne's sunglasses. Sex has transactions. Men as the oppressed. The red pill denies itself as a discussion of the sexual strategies in culture increasingly lacking a positive identity for men. This gets Succinctly at two pieces that are central to the philosophy. One is primarily focused on sex as a transaction. Secondly, it is based on the notion that men are oppressed primarily by females. The community itself is incredibly organized. A long sidebar on main page links you to rules and guidelines for posting, 101 guides to terms and concepts and theory readings. At the core is the concept of alpha beta masculinity perspect- spectru- spectrums. Alpha being the idea that men want to be and women want to bone. The goal is life improvement by moving towards the alpha side through a variety of techniques. Some are as INNOCUOUS as shared fitness tips, but most involve analyzing, dissecting, dissecting or manipulating behavior in relationship. The subretiners have complied a very handy glossing, which is essential if you want to even casually skim some posts. If you can make it through that without feeling nauseated, congratulations, you're probably a bad person. Keep in mind that is some of the language that has caused pickup artists to be banned from entire countries and fewer elite Rogers shooting spree. The ideology revolves entirely around heterosexual relationships. There does not seem to be much room for LGBT folks, or perhaps it just doesn't appeal to them as much. I did find one post by a self-identified gay who joked, as a gay TRP member, I feel like I should do an AMA, whatever that is. Some of the advice and debate is not entirely bad, but the language and discussion is incredibly demeaning to women using humanizing technology like plate and hamstering, which brings us to the even more mystifying, who are the women of red pill? The very first rule of TRP main page states, mission is to discuss men's identity, sexual strategies, and options in the context of our current global structure for the benefit of men. Emphasize theirs. So I was curious what extremely was going on over the red pill women. Here, there's a noticeable less emphasis on dating and more on maintaining an already existing relationship. The first page already reveals more posts on fitness and maintaining physical appearance than I saw on the TRP, which is not exclusively for men, but seems to be dominating by them. Both the men and the women are interested in modifying their own behavior. Red pill women feels a little less gross, probably because it is more about keeping a relationship than snagging or avoiding one. Most red pill women are already married in a long-term relationship with men and are introduced to TRP philosophy through their partner. Eventually, partner is not a term they use much. One noticeable addition to the vocabulary was shrew, SHREW, a term women use to refer to other women or themselves before allowing the pill. So they got a pill for the women to take. I guess to obey your husband, obey men. So that's a red pill for the women. Okay. Before swallowing the pill, they also use bitchy quite frequently and describe to the concept of all women are like that. AWALT. All women are like that. My patience was being shit tested at this point in my reading. Again, there are some good concepts in there, such as communication and reciprocity, affection, but it is also couched in the demonizing language, the meaning language that it still feels unhealthy. The most positive thing I can say about this is that there is some genuinely civil and throughout thoughtful rapport going on. The community is largely supportive of its members. Advanced red pill tactics on hard mode. Married red pill also exists. Wow, got that going on. After a bit of browsing, this subreddit also seems to be populated primarily by men. The focus is on maintaining a relationship, which is less pre- predatory than the pickup artist play shit on the main TRP. One thing that hasn't changed is that it's still all about sex. Maintaining a marriage involves a lot of making sure she still put it out. After spending some time on the red pill women, the whole thing was starting to bother me. Ouch. When both parents are interested in a red pill style lifestyle, then it's just two consenting adults trying to strengthen their relationship through a means to agree on. What makes this creepy is that the wives are often not privy to the philosophy and probably aren't aware of how much they are being manipulated or discussed on the internet. A lot of this is not about their advice, but it could be achieved without the oppressive theorizing and cultist language. Y'all are hamster way too much. I murder as I skim the third consecutive post by a dude analyzing a scene in which he does and or does not have sex with his wife. There is also a red pill parenting site. Wow. I was going to tell you more, or that about me, about it, but one of the first posts is titled "Protecting Your Little Girls from Slutness," and the description says developing a positive identity for boys and realistic expectation for our girls. You guys, I'm so tired. Turns out fresh interfaces are not even remotely the creepiest thing unwritten. What remains unclear to me is how this is actually an enlightened red pill ideology when it's really just same shit, different name on a slightly more organized platform. Here's a plated cleanser of bell hooks mimics for you. Whatever it is. Okay, same shit. Ain't changed. Unfortunately. Sad. It's sad. The red pill and dog whistles is more than just the internet. It's a favor by men's right groups and conspiracy theories, but what does take the red pill actually mean? Ever since its 1999 reference from blockbuster film, Matrix have become part of popular culture. The movie's premise and many of its lines have stuck with us for more than 20 years, and particularly in the last decade, been co-opted by groups who would never be aligned with its original ETHOs. In recent months, the Matrix co-writer Lily has spoken out saying the scene fiction film is more a transgender allegory than anything else. Revelations that will certainly grate on those who gravitate to the movement inspired by one of the movie's most memorable lines, take the pill. Initially following the metaphor of how it plays out in the film, taking the red pill instead of the blue pill meant choosing to see the truth. If you take a red pill, your eyes are open to the truth of the world, and you no longer exist in the pretty but fake world you you thought you lived in. If you take the red pill, you see the underlinings of the world networks and the for power from various groups, the nefarious dealings of those in control to keep the masses uh, at bay. But as time went on, this became more than just a line from a movie, and gained traction on internet forums, then written, and for the years has stood as a battle cry for conservative conspiracy theories and the men's rights activists, MRA, many of whom believe the truth is the white men are under attack. Man, whoever playing, everybody playing, y'all is playing the fuck out of y'all the color. They are playing the color out of people. They are, it's so a shame how they doing this. We ain't gonna never get it together with this type of mentality. And they know that. But what does the phase really mean? There are too many definitions for the red pill in Urban Dictionary to cite them all. There's no one true definition of the red pill, so red pill can be anything. But there's a certain type of person who proudly proclaims to have taken the red pill most often. Men like Caesar Sayca, Saycoc, the man who spent in Proverbs explosion derives to critics Donald Trump and far-right conspiracy theorists and radio hosts Alex Jones, men who hate feminists, who are against liberal ideas, men who believe in things like Puzzlegate, Pizzagate, whatever it is, pick up artists, PUAs, the Manosphere, a group of online communities that include MRAs, PUAs, NCELS, and men's going through on way, MGTOW, among others, and the QANON, that word right there. Even those who use the term in more mainstream spaces do so without much clarity. In May, Elon Musk tweeted, "Take the red pill" to his 35.5 million followers. They got hundreds of thousands of likes, replies, and retweets, including from Ianka Trump. But why would Musk type this dog whistle? And does he know what it means? In the film scene, Keanu Reeves' Neo learns that the Matrix, the life he thought he was leading, was the world put over his eyes to prevent him from seeing the truth. The truth being that he was a slave, just like everyone else, born to bondage but kept stated by a silly, untrue fantasy land. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. Lawrence Fishburne's character, Morpheus, tells Neo, "You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes." Okay. Mhm. You stayed, okay. The hero takes the red pill, which is meaningful to his roots who feel the world has mistreated them. Gathered in online echo chambers, they feel like heroes for seeing the world for what it is, for being brave enough to handle it and strong enough to show others. Little do they realize that the red pill of truth often leads them down a path of delusion, the very thing they think they are rallying the rest of the world against. Wow. So you see how they switched that pill? See how they switched it on us? Hey, Spy. While red pulling his head, while red pulling has had some play in the media, it is often though a symptomatic lens. Through a symptomatic lens, many people do not truly understand the process of being indoctrinated into this type of thinking or what it does to those undergoing it. The phenomenon is not something to be gawked after at or ignored. Hating of women, white supremacy, anti-Semitics are on the rise, and so is the violence that goes with them, including shootings, bombings, and violence. Increasing these bursts of violence come after months or years of conditioning these men undergo. Right, conditioning these men. That's why I tell y'all they've been doing this conditioning y'all. And y'all believe, and it's nothing I probably can say on anybody else. Yeah, something higher than me is gonna have to show y'all this. They hang out in YouTube or internet forums and wave a web of conspiracy theory around themselves, in which they are the ultimate victims and their scapegoats, some unlikely victors in the game of life. Groups typically marginalized by society: Jewish people, black people, other people of color, and any of course women. More than just the internet, Nick Price, a self-described nearly professional internet troll, helps run the Facebook page Hope This Helps, which hands out snarky onliners to disgruntled people who complain in entitled ways on business websites and social media. Price has been watching the red pill community grow since the early 2000s. He says the idea started in internet relay chat, IRC, an application layer protocol responsible for some of the first chat rooms on the internet. Over the years, these ideas have evolved. What was once lighthearted and harmonious slowly became sinister. Over time, a lot of communities, Price said, I think they generally started down those paths due to a lack of self esteem and identity, and they cling on to what they derive from it. These groups are actually a collection of servers that connect the computers. Started in the 1980s, it ran its basic tree-like community communication tool where each computer was part of the network, but messages were routed only through certain channels depending on directive. The content categories range from the dark web to I don't know what that is. A hacktivism, and everything in between. Because of the technology nature of using these channels, the people drawn to the original communities tend to have tech knowledge and interests in common. A lot of these toxic behaviors and behaviors of self-reinforcing unity, the point that they escalate and start to become normal and influent. A woman working in tech in Silicon Valley who asked for anonymity to protect her career and family said she was part of the original communities. They were built on the perception that their rants were just the internet, she explained. But that became a get out of jail free card for members to say whatever they wanted, she added, and then it got worse. That combination with a new kind of internet community of people who go to violence as a first resort. It means that threats are more real now. And this second community, what it said is not a joke, but that first community adds possible deniability, she says. So now you have two communities who absolutely can and will do violence. These two feed off each other, but really both want violence. Because the first type of community would make violent threats and laugh it off, saying people took the internet too serious. When the second group came along making violent threats, they were able to claim that they were just in jest until the moment they actually acted on the threats. When a member of the community committed a violent act, the rest would then disview them, claiming they were an outlier. Examples of this type of violence after online activities range from making pipe bombs, carrying out mass shootings. Red pilling is not a game anymore, if it ever was. A lot of these toxic behaviors are self-enforcing until the point that they escalate and start to become normal and infumed. And I think a lot of it is filtered by the vile echo chambers that popped up everywhere, Prince said. Conspiracy theories and anti-Semitism, semantics. So what happens when you accidentally feed into this loop? That is where I come in. I'm a professional of journalism, reporting, opinion writing, a woman. As a teacher, I can say that very few of my students know what red pill means. Men assume it has to do with politics, red being Republican and blue being Democrat. Good idea on that one. Smart kid. Okay. Republican and Democrat. They did use that before the blue. Okay. And so they use the colors for us. Okay. Can't blame them. Although the eh, ideologies to start aligning, if you squint your eyes, deaden your brain, concentrate on the fringe elements of both parties, and ignore our nuances. In reality, red and blue pills have nothing to do with U.S. political parties. Yeah. As a reporter and liberal opinion writer, I can say that nothing makes you question your purpose more than finding your own work being used by red pillars to pull people down their rabbit holes. An outlandish word here, a provoking phrase there, and an argument taken out of context are all that is needed to get some people to take a hesitant first step towards conspiracy theory, white supremacist, and anti-Semitic central. In my case, they used my name in a piece I wrote in 2014 for Time to bring the narrative back against the Jewish people running everything, crying racism, and being the most privileged of all. Our original article for reference was about understanding the riots that happened in Ferguson after the death of Michael Brown and the accumulate of the officers who shot him. I argued that riots were the language of unheard and that they are necessary for the evolution of society. Not all of the articles written about my piece on right wing and far right websites were fired in brimstone, although many were. Some were worded intelligently, using a subtle touch to take my words just slightly out of context, so that by the end of it, a reader might just think, maybe it is Darla who is the racist one. After all, the writer of this article seems to care about black people, seems to want economic equality, unless, of course, the people's suffering brought it upon themselves. Which, if you look at a certain situation in a certain light, the way they will have been present in these articles, sometimes they must have right. In George monologue on Foxfire, for instance, he set up an entire debate scenario where he played both sides. You don't kill a kid because he's high, imitating the traditional liberal view of Michael Brown's murder, where he was also high and he attacked the cop, answered himself. He goes on in this manner, brilliantly making consecutive talking points around rational and liberal talking points around silly until he gets to conclusion. Can we agree on one thing? He said. Sure, he answered himself, that Darla Cumming is a big moron. And that is the first step, easy as that, logically as it seems, built illogor illogic as it actually is. It reckoned this change. It does not happen all at once. It is a gradual descent, a slow journey. I off lick, luckier. I got off luckier than most because they gave me as a person a mere glancing blow, and a piece in question was just an afterthought. I gotta leave. That's why I'm getting all tripped up. They called me a Jewess, even though I am a Jew, not Jewish. Then left me alone, but focused on my Jewish sounding name. Okay, Kohan was primarily conditioning for the reader. It was subconscious hint to build the web on the top of which red pillars peel their ideas, their motives, and their conspiracies, making opinions seem like facts. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more, Morpheus said to Neil. That is what these men believe, that they are bringing the truth almost, but not quite, derived of politics. It was a Republican state representative who founded the Red Pill subreddit, Price said, referring to Robert Fisher, who also previously ran for Austin Democrat, and referencing the first Red Pill community that slang up in 2021. I'm gonna stop right there, but y'all get the gist. It's sad. I don't know. They got us so programmed to I don't know if people seeing the truth anything anymore. And it's your best bet to do so because what are we actually doing? Who's actually taking control? What's really going on? You know, if I come against you color wise, let's start with that, and a storm happened and we're living next door to each other and we're different colors, and you're trapped in your house or I'm trapped in my house, okay, and will we not help each other? Will I let you die? Will you let me die? You know, questions on the table right now. Then we got the gender. Because you're a man and I'm a woman, stay here. Or you have a family, you have girls, and they're trapped. And because they're women, would you leave them there? Or your neighbor that's a woman, would you leave them there? You know, it's a lot of things that we need to really look at and see who's really pushing these issues. I told a young driver the other day, he was listening to this type of things with men talking like this. And I told him, I said, you know what, I would suggest, not trying to tell you what to do, but I would try to find people to get me ready for whatever's to come. Not focusing on putting a woman down, you know, trying to degrade her because that's not going to help the situations that's going to mess with you in your life for whatever else is going around here. Whether it be a person, a woman you get, or a circle of a small group of friends and y'all build. And then he was like, yeah, I want to give me some land and grow plants and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's the way to go. Instead of bashing somebody, staying in that mind frame where they want to keep you distracted from what's really going on instead of you going forward and you know what you needing to do and focus on what you need to do and leave those hurt people who have been hurt and not got over their hurt and they're spreading their hurt so others can stay hurt with them in that pity party, and then all y'all get hurt and die and fry together and be lost and with the red pill. Okay, so I suggest stop focusing on that. And if you got somebody by your side and y'all gonna be boot together and go through this world with and figure out stuff together and put two heads is better than one and strategize. It don't matter if it's male or female, whatever it may be. So y'all can figure out what y'all next move is gonna be and be 10 steps ahead of what they got going on. You won. Who cares about gender? You know what I'm saying? Who cares? It's I got somebody that love me and we strategize together, whatever type of love or level may be on, they got my back, I got their back, reciprocity. You know, I'm gonna protect them, they're gonna protect me. So I don't understand this other stuff that's keeping you occupied on dominating a woman. So when they get ready to, you think when they get ready to shoot up everybody, that they're gonna worry about you, a man there with that woman, and you're gonna say, "Yeah, I've been beating her up, or I've been putting her down, and I've been loading, I've been raping my chick, whatever." You think they're gonna care? Most of them are gonna be robots who have no feeling, or drone or clones. They're gonna shoot you too. They're gonna blow you up too. They don't care. They're just keeping your mind on dumb stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna leave it with that. I got to go. And I love y'all. And I hope this helps in some type of way. The dream sparked this out. And I gotta follow through. All right, love y'all. This is Girl Ruth signing off. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. I really appreciate it. Until next time, y'all take care.